see the state headquarters, TV headquarters being attacked and bombed, um, what was the first reaction of the journalist fraternity in Tehran, in Iran?
I myself were there.
You were there.
As Yes, either there, and just 3 minutes before the explosion, I were on air. We have to target the U.S. interests and bases in the region. Because if any negotiation happen, if any ceasefire happens in this moment, in the best scenario, we would see what happened in Lebanon. At least 1,000 times the ceasefire violated.
This is massive escalation in the Iran-Israel war, with America entering the fray. What's happening in Tehran? How is Iran looking at responding to this massive escalation and America's involvement in the Iran-Israel conflict? To discuss this and more, I'm being joined by Elham Abedini. This is an exclusive conversation. She joins us from Tehran. She's a journalist, an anchor, and a political analyst. Thank you so much, Elham, for joining us here on India Today Global. Let's begin with the fact that America has entered the fray. How is Iran reading into the fact that America bombed 3 nuclear sites of Iran, even as Iran was in talks with European countries in Geneva?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Actually, I think the main issue that we have to mention is that Iran expected that the United States would involve on this war. Even from the beginning of the war, we knew that Israel is not alone. And we knew that Israel do this war and this aggression with the green light of the US. So we didn't actually separate the United States and Israel, and many officials, many even our broadcasting, our media talking about the responsibility of the US, even before the US directly involved in the war. Some said that the US bases, US targets in the region could be a target for Iran, even besides Israel. I mean, we heard these things. But after that, after Donald Trump directly said that we bombed this, and the reaction of Iran and said we evacuate these 3 sites, it showed that it was not surprising. It's completely expected that the US, as a somehow rational actor, it's completely expected that the US has to involve, because this war shows weaknesses of the Israel. I suppose Israel think that Iran is something such as Hamas or Hezbollah or even Ansarullah in Yemen. But Iran is completely a country. I think Israel think that could follow what it's kind Zahia doctrine or Lebanon's doctrine. It thinks that they can do one surprising operation, some assassination, right, and the regime would fall, and then they would make a ceasefire. So after this not happened, we in Iran expect that the US has to involve, to actually strike this. So even after the Iran and the EU Troika make negotiation, still we expect this. So I suppose it's important to know that it was not surprising for Iran.
Right. Very important points that you make. We will talk about it and you will break it down for us. But before that, as an anchor of IRIB, as somebody who's a journalist, to see the state headquarters, TV headquarters being attacked and bombed, what was the first reaction of the journalist fraternity in Tehran, in Iran?
I myself were there.
You were there?
Yes, either there, and just 3 minutes before the explosion, I were on air. Just 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, I were just get up from a the explosion. The first explosion happened. So and I make some videos exactly the time of that explosion. And I can say that because it was my own experience that at least from 1 or 2 hours before the explosion, everyone knew that the Israeli want to target there. But everyone just stay there because they said that Israel want to make us silent, but we do not let them. And it was really inspiring that they knew Israeli would target there, but they were still there. Still, we had a live broadcasting. Still, we think about different scenarios that if Israeli target there, just make some alternative options. So it was really, I think, inspiring that people even when they know that they may kill, but they still stay there. After it happened, I actually received many calls and texts from my journalist friends, editors from different media all around the Iran, and they said that we are ready for even voluntary work in from their cities even. And I think these kind of unity that happened after these things, and many media said that we are ready to help IRIB, and they talk about IRIB. They cover its news even more than before. It was great. So it was my just own experience that how now the public opinion of Iran, like many other countries, know that how much Israeli aggression work, and everyone expect any crime that happened, and nothing will surprise us.
That's quite brave of you. You were there. You stayed on. But Elham, in terms of the damage, what is the extent of damage? Were there casualties? What was the situation, and how is the TV station now coping with this attack? Are others worried that uh, it, everybody now is exposed to maybe an Israeli attack?
Yeah. Actually, in that explosion, it was 3 or 4 explosion in about 2 minutes. It was not just one explosion. I mean, Israeli want to make sure that completely destroy all the studios, all facilities in that building, because that building was the main building of IRIB, and our main studios was there. And actually, Israeli know that, and at least 3 or 4 our news studios were there.
Okay.
3 killed in those explosions, and more than dozens were actually injured in that explosion. But fortunately, they are now in a stable situation. Just 3 of them killed by Israeli regime, and we had other offices, other studios, and just after about 10 minutes, or even less than 10 minutes, we just get on air again with exactly that anchor who was on air when explosion happened. She went to another studios, and again they go broadcasting. And after that, I see that even some other media headquarters, for instance, IRNA, which is the state news agency of Iran. Even there were some unofficial threats against them as well. And many journalists think that now Israeli want to get us silent, and this is not a new thing. This is what happened in at least in these 2 years ago in Gaza. And but the important issue is that they are doing their work. Even they go to for instance, infrastructure, civilian area, which are struck by Israeli, and make the reports, make coverage, and it's great. Yeah.
Right, Ilham, the fact that America is now a part of this war, the foreign minister of Iran has very clearly said that the option for negotiations and talks is now, that door has closed completely. What's your reading as a political analyst in what Iran can do next? Is there retaliation that we'd be seeing conventionally against Israel, or are we also looking at military bases of the United States of America in the region?
I myself analysis is that we have to target the U.S. interests and bases in the region, because if any negotiation happen, if any ceasefire happen during, in these moments, in the best scenario, we would see what happened in Lebanon. At least 1,000 times the ceasefire violated. In Lebanon, they got ceasefire, but Lebanon violated more than 1,000. And this is the best scenario that would be in front of us in Iran.
Hmm.
So I think we have to play a game with high risk. We have to make a response. The maximum response, and there is no other option. Maybe after that response, uh, to I mean uh, to make a good response against what they did. Because besides that, what happened for Fordo, Natanz, let's imagine that anything happened for Fordo or Natanz.
Hmm.
There are some assessments that there's nothing really harsh damage to Fordo, and they evacuated. There is no uranium there. Okay, all of this, but the United States
By attacking.
violate the Iran borders. Yeah. So Iran has to respond exactly to Iran, to the U.S. targets and bases besides Israeli regime. And I think this is the only option for Iran.
Okay, Ilham, at the escalation part aside, let's just talk about what the Israelis have claimed. Now, the Israelis have said that they're not targeting Iranian civilians, that after the Iranian retaliation, they actually came out and said that, look, what Iran is trying to do, attack residences and civilians, but that's not the idea of what Israel intends to do. Your take on the attack so far that Iran has witnessed and has experienced from the Israeli side?
Actually, the main thing that I want to mention is that Iran just responds. It was not retaliation. It was our self-defense. It was a legal right against the UN Charter to respond what Israeli did. But we see that I myself witness as a journalist that Israeli regime targets infrastructure and civilian areas. I myself see many civilians, even kids, even 2 months old baby that was killed. I mean, 2 months old baby with not in military bases. It was just house. And there are many videos and pictures that they targeted civilian areas. But I actually confess that because of many sanctions, unfortunately, Iran's broadcasting outside of border is not really good enough, and we cannot say our newses, our coverage to actually audiences out of our border, and the Israeli could narrate what it wants to say. But there are many, at least 5 hospitals. I know 5 hospitals in different parts of Iran that they targeted, and also IRIB as a headquarter of just media, which is completely civilian. So it's just plain that Israeli said that.
Okay.
And I think if the escalation, if we see massive escalation because of Iran's response against the US, it is just because of their strikes and they targeted. It was not something that Iran began that. And always Iran said that we do not want to have nuclear bomb. Uh, since at least 25 years ago, Israeli many times claimed that Iran would achieve the nuclear bomb in 2 years, in 5 years, in 1 month, in 2 months. But still, we see that Iran has not nuclear bomb.
Elham, the fact that Israel has targeted top military and political officials of Iran, how badly impacted is the country today when it comes to the top leadership of the country, which includes Trump's threat to the supreme leader saying, "We know where you are, we know your location, but we're not just going to kill you just yet."
Absolutely, it was damaging. It was hard for us to lose top commanders in just 1 hours, 2 hours. But the important issue is that what Israeli doesn't know is that Iran is a country, is not one group, I mean, something that it can compare with even Hezbollah, even Ansarullah. It's country, and it has a chain of leadership. So,
Hmm.
and we before that experience it, even just last year we actually lost our president. Just after 40 days we had election, or before that there were many assassinations. And this time we see that just after about 10 hours or something, all of the commanders just alter and chosen again. So I think this is the point that why the US involved in this war, because they think that they could actually destroy all the establishments by these things. Absolutely, it's hard, it's damaging, but we just rebuild the establishment.
Right, Ilham, as a political analyst, how do you see the situation now spill over to the region? Because it is not going to be confined to Iran alone. We are looking at the whole of Middle East, that's West Asia, neighboring countries, particularly Pakistan, Indian interests in Iran certainly are going to be affected. How is the region going to be affected, and how is the region going to be dragged into this war?
I think that if countries in our region think rationally. I don't say about ideologic things. Just logically, if they think and they investigate, they study what Israeli did, at least in recent years, they understand that Israel would not stop. It's not just stop in Palestine territories, not Gaza, not West Bank. It just closer step by step in other countries. After that it was the turn of Lebanon, then Syria, then Iran, and who knows what is the next country? Really, who knows? So I think that if countries in the region just think logically and they just think about their own interests, I don't say that they have to be human things and think about Iranian civilians or Palestinian civilians, but just think about their own interests. They have to do something to stop Israel, because who knows, the next country would not, I mean, other countries in our region. So I think the first important issue is that countries in the Persian Gulf has to cooperate with Iran to uh, keep our region and the Persian Gulf safety, because there are many commercial trade that would use vessels in the Persian Gulf. And I think that if Iran, and especially Tehran, capital of Iran, come to in safety, Iran would not allow other countries in the region that just keep alive in safety, because Iran is hub in our region, and no countries can live besides Iran, who is involved in the war, in domestic war, in chaos, and all the region need a stable Iran. And I think that all the region has to know that. And if it does not happen, all countries in the region, even out of the region, even Russia, China, India, Pakistan, all of them would drag into the war.
You mentioned Russia, China, so we will discuss that. But before that, it's not just military response by Iran. Iran can take other steps as well. Is the Iranian parliament discussing shutting down of Strait of Hormuz, which is a key shipping line for most of the oil and gas supplies? Is that an option? Is that what the Iranian government is considering right now at this moment?
Not completely shutting down Hormuz Strait, but they are thinking about making some limitation on Hormuz Strait and make some long-term limitation there because every country is in the region and outside of region should know that the country which was responsible for the safety of this region was Iran. You know that in the Middle Eastern country, in many years we faces a terrorist attack, terrorist group, and the only country who actually fight against terrorism was Iran in Syria, in Iraq, and everyone in the region knows that Iran was the main actor who were against and fighting against this chaos and terrorism. So now maybe it's the time to again Iran prove that. And another
When you say
option for Iran
limitations,
is about
Ilham,
NPT.
when you
Yeah,
say limitations, you mean restrictions to vessels that are either American flags or
yeah.
allies of America, just them, or are we looking at countries beyond America as well?
The first step is American allies and absolutely Israelis. But maybe after that, if we see that our neighbors would allow Israeli and also the US actually use their soul and their airspace to attack Iran, they would actually take this responsibility of their board.
There are a lot of investments by India in Iran, certainly in Israel as well. How much of that would be impacted because of the conflict, and what is the expectation of Tehran from New Delhi?
The main expectation of Iran from actually all countries in the region and even outside the region in Asia is that uh, at the first step, use diplomacy, and after that, even use other tools such as economic tools to stop Israeli. Because as I said before, I think that who knows what was the actually next term. Every country can expose what Israeli aggression. So I think that the main expectation of Iran from India, as India and Israel have good relationship, maybe some do some mediation step and convince Israel that this war and this aggression would just cost and benefit. Uh, uh, its cost for Israeli is even more than Iran because of all of the ambition that Israeli and its ally has. So I think they have to convince that Israeli would not experience safety and what they wanted. For instance, they said that we want to make Haifa as a Shanghai port in the region. They would not experience it, never.
That's a very important point you're making, Ilham. Before I let you go, now for the common people in Tehran, in Iran, um, we've seen Iranian government help India a lot in evacuating Indians from Iran, particularly Indian students. But how difficult has that been, evacuating foreign nationals from the country with regards to not just India, various countries? And how is life for the common man in Iran today?
Actually, we also had this problem because about 80,000 Iranians were in Saudi Arabia for in Mecca and Medina, and this war happened during this time, and we face some problem even return our
Oh.
Iranians back to Iran. And we use some different options. For instance, they go to Iraq and then they are returning to Iran by bus. So I mean, this is what Iran want to do: evacuate all international who wants evacuate Iran. But uh, this problem is something, this crisis that is something that we, even as an Iranian, has this problem. I myself has a friend that who were in Lebanon, and she go to Turkey and then come to Tehran with bus. About 2 or 3 days it took along. So I last night I had an interview with foreign ministry officials, and they talked that we are cooperating with our neighboring countries, especially Iraq, even Afghanistan, to help people to return back to Iran or evacuate. But because of Israeli aggression, and we cannot actually predict that when this airspace would safe. And all of these restrictions is because of the safety of people.
Are there bunkers? Are there safety places for people in, especially Tehran, that is under Israeli radar right now, for them to go whenever there is a call and there is information that Israel is going to attack Tehran?
Uh, uh, there is no actually systematic shelters that we see, for instance, in Israeli videos. We do not have something like this, but because of some earthquake or something that Tehran experienced before, there are some places that is called as a safe places, and actually citizens of different cities of Iran know their places, and also there are metro subways that they can use, but not something such as Israeli had these kind of shelters.
Right. And finally, before I let you go, three nuclear sites have been bombed. For now, there has been IEA says that there is no report of leaks, uranium leaks or radiation leaks. But in terms of securing the facilities, the other facilities, what is Iran really doing? What's the information that they have on further action from Israel when it comes to Iran and Iranian nuclear facilities?
Before this explosion happened, Iran said that even 2 nights before the explosion happened, Iran said that we evacuated these sites, and there were any uranium in these facilities. After the explosion happened, our atomic organization make a statement and said that a citizen has not to actually worry about this issue. And after that, even today, we had different kind of statements from different related organizations that they said that there is no worries for citizen near these three nuclear site. But I want to mention, even if one day Israelis said that we want to use nuclear bomb against Iranian, even that day I would not surprise, and I sure that no one's surprised in the world, because they talk about it many times in against Gaza, against anyone, and also their closest ally, the US, is the only country that use atomic bombs. So I think this is even we can expect this option as well.
Are you disappointed in President Trump? The fact that there should have been talks and diplomacy should have been a way forward. Are you disappointed in President Trump? And do you think he got played into taking this extreme step by Netanyahu?
I think this is not about disappointment. It's about distrust, because we were in the negotiation, we were in the diplomacy situation, we were on the table, and the U.S. Knew that Israeli did this strike amid negotiation. So it's about distrust, that about this honesty that the U.S. did. And so now every option was expected from the U.S. and Netanyahu, and they proved that they They can use any tools against civilians because Israeli knew that after this war ended, these wars, I mean, Iran, Syria, Lebanon, Gaza, if these wars ended, Israeli would be finished because they just rebuilt themselves by these wars and chaos. They convinced their citizens, their civilians that we are in war, so just keep calm and don't. And actually, they try to distract their own people by these wars and this chaos. So they just make some benefits from this, and they try to make this even longer and longer.
Elham, final question to you. In terms of warfare, it's always said that Iran also uses non-conventional warfare. Is Iran going to use the Houthis in Yemen, Hezbollah in Lebanon, even Hamas for that matter, to respond to Israel? Because of the distance that you have between Iran and Israel, it's easier to activate groups that are closer to Israel.
I think that this is not proxies, as the mainstream media want to say. These are not proxies. This is a network. This is a resistant network that they build themselves and revive themselves because of their even own interests. We have common interests because of threats that all of these years we faces because of the US and Israeli aggression. I think we have common goals, we have some common cooperation, common things, but I don't think that they are waiting for Iran's order. Now they can even make solo military operation as we see in 7th October or what Ansarullah did in Red Sea. They make some solo military, military operation. But about the US, about the NATO, about Israeli, no one talk about proxies. What is the difference between them?
Elham Abedini, thank you so much for joining us and breaking down what actually is happening on the ground and how Iran is looking at this entire conflict with now America in the fray. We hope to see you more on our network, explaining the situation on the ground from Tehran. For now, thank you so much for joining us.